Max was a puppy full of love. From the moment he opened his eyes, the world seemed like a place filled with endless possibilities and boundless affection. His tiny heart beat with a rhythm of joy and curiosity, always eager to explore and experience new things. He had soft brown eyes and a wagging tail that never seemed to stop. His eyes sparkled with innocence and a hint of mischief, always ready for the next adventure. His tail was like a little metronome, keeping time with the happiness that filled his days. He loved to play with his brothers and sisters. They would chase each other around the yard, tumbling and rolling in the grass, their playful barks filling the air with a symphony of joy. Each day was a new game, a new chance to bond and create memories. Max loved his mother most of all. She was his anchor, his source of comfort and security. Her presence was like a warm blanket, wrapping him in a sense of belonging and love. She was warm and kind, always there to offer a gentle nudge or a loving lick. Her eyes held a wisdom and a tenderness that made Max feel safe and cherished. She licked his ears and kept him safe, her gentle touch a constant reminder of her love. No matter what happened, Max knew he could always count on his mother to be there for him. Then, one day, everything changed. The familiar world that Max had known was suddenly turned upside down. The yard that had been their playground was now filled with strangers, and the air was thick with the scent of change. Max and his siblings went to new homes. Each of them was placed in a carrier, their little faces peeking out with a mix of curiosity and fear. The journey to their new homes was filled with uncertainty, but also a glimmer of hope for new beginnings. He was sad to leave his mother. The bond they shared was strong, and the thought of being apart from her was almost too much to bear. Her scent, her warmth, her love, all of it was now a memory that he clung to. He missed her warmth and her love. The nights were the hardest, as he lay alone in his new bed, the silence a stark contrast to the comforting sounds of his family. But even in the quiet, he could still feel her presence, like a gentle whisper in his heart. But Max was a brave puppy. Despite the sadness and the fear, he knew he had to face this new chapter with courage. His mother had taught him well, and he carried her lessons with him, like a shield against the unknown. He knew he had to be strong. With each passing day, Max grew more confident, more sure of himself. He made new friends, explored new places, and discovered that love and happiness could be found in many forms. His tiny heart, once filled with the love of his mother, now had room for so much more. The Miller family welcomed Max with open arms. They had been eagerly anticipating his arrival for weeks, preparing their home to make it as comfortable as possible for their new furry friend. The children, Sarah and Jake, had even made a welcome banner and decorated the living room with balloons. They gave him a soft bed and tasty treats. Max's bed was placed in a cozy corner of the living room, where he could always be part of the family's activities. The treats were homemade, lovingly prepared by Mrs. Miller, who had researched the best recipes to ensure Max's health and happiness. He played fetch in the park and snuggled by the fireplace. Every afternoon, Mr. Miller would take Max to the nearby park, where they would spend hours playing fetch. Max's favorite part of the day, however, was the evenings spent by the fireplace, where he would snuggle up with the family, feeling the warmth of the fire and the love of his new home. Max loved his new family. He enjoyed the constant attention and affection he received from each member. Sarah and Jake would take turns petting him, and he would wag his tail in delight, feeling truly cherished. He was happy in his new home. The Millers had created a safe and loving environment for Max, where he felt secure and content. The house was filled with laughter and joy, and Max was at the heart of it all. But deep in his heart, Max never forgot his mother. He would often find himself gazing out the window, lost in thought, wondering about his past. The memories of his early days with his mother were still vivid in his mind. He wondered where she was. Max's curiosity would sometimes get the better of him, and he would explore the house, hoping to find some clue about his mother. He would sniff around, his ears perked up, always alert. He hoped she was safe and loved. Despite his happy new life, Max's thoughts would often drift to his mother. He hoped that she too had found a loving family, just like he had. The hope that she was safe and cared for gave him comfort. The thought of her warmed him from the inside. Whenever he thought of his mother, a sense of peace would wash over him. He would lie down with a content expression, feeling a deep connection to her, even from afar. Max knew that no matter where life took him, the bond with his mother would always remain strong. Months passed, and Max grew bigger and stronger. He learned tricks and went for long walks. He had become a part of the Miller family. He brought them so much joy. They couldn't imagine life without him. One afternoon, the Millers decided to visit a local adoption event. They wanted to support the cause. They knew how much joy rescued animals brought. They never expected it would change their lives. The park was filled with barking dogs and excited people. Max sniffed at the new smells. He wagged his tail at the other dogs. Then he stopped. A familiar scent filled his nose. It was a sweet, milky smell, the smell of his mother. Max's ears perked up. His tail began to wag uncontrollably. He had to find her. Section 5: Tongues, Tails, and Tears of Joy. This chapter delves into the deep emotional connections that dogs share, not just with humans, but with each other. It's a tale of reunion, love, and the unspoken bond that transcends time and distance. Max pulled on his leash, dragging the Millers towards the familiar scent. The park was bustling with activity, children playing and other dogs frolicking around, but Max had only one focus. His nose twitched, and his tail wagged furiously as he led the way. There, in a quiet corner, sat a beautiful golden retriever. She seemed out of place amidst the lively surroundings, her golden fur shimmering under the sunlight, yet her posture was one of solitude and longing. Her eyes were filled with sadness. They told a story of separation and heartache, a story that only another dog could truly understand. The depth of her sorrow was palpable, and it tugged at the heartstrings of anyone who looked her way. Max knew instantly it was her. It was his mother. The bond they shared was undeniable, and even after all this time, he could recognize her scent, her presence. His heart raced with a mix of joy and anticipation. Max barked once, a bark filled with excitement and relief. It was a sound that conveyed all the emotions he couldn't express in words. His tail wagged uncontrollably, and his eyes sparkled with happiness. The golden retriever's head shot up, her eyes met Max's. In that instant, the world around them seemed to fade away. It was just the two of them, connected by an invisible thread of love and memories. She whimpered, a soft, heartbroken sound. It was as if she couldn't believe her eyes, as if she feared this was just a dream. But the reality of Max standing before her was undeniable. Then she bounded towards him. Her movements were filled with a newfound energy, a spark that had been missing for so long. As they closed the distance between them, their tails wagged in unison, and their eyes shone with tears of joy. The reunion was nothing short of magical, a testament to the enduring power of love and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. Section 6: An Unbreakable Bond. The reunion was pure joy. Max and his mother nuzzled each other, tears welling up in the Millers' eyes. They licked each other's faces and wagged their tails so hard their whole bodies shook. The Millers were amazed. They had never seen Max so happy. He was a different dog, full of life and love. The bond between Max and his mother was unbreakable. Section 7: Love Multiplied, Not Divided. The Millers knew what they had to do. They adopted Max's mother on the spot. They couldn't bear to separate them again. They drove home, their car filled with the happy sounds of two reunited souls. From that day on, Max and his mother were inseparable. They played together, slept side by side, and shared a love that only a mother and her puppy could understand. Section 8: The Gift of Second Chances. The Millers were grateful for the gift of this reunion. They learned that love is not finite. It multiplies with every shared moment. They witnessed the power of second chances. Max's story reminded them that family is not just about blood. It's about love, loyalty, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us. Section 9: Forever Family. Max, his mother, and the Millers were a family, bound by love and gratitude. Their story, a heartwarming reminder that happy endings do exist. Sometimes they come with wagging tails and wet noses. They knew that families are not always about where you come from, but about the love and joy you share. They were a family, forever,